It all starts with Bonnie Altmyer being imprisoned for killing her abusive husband, leaving Harley, her eldest child, to take care of his 3 younger sisters when all he wants to do is have fun with girls because that is all he thinks about. 2 years later, a 19-year-old Harley drives home to find out that Amber, his 16-year-old promiscuous and rebellious sister, is going out on a date, instead of babysitting her sisters. Harley confronts her, but Amber teases him about not having a life and states that he is desperate to get laid by a girl. Later that night, Harley, who works in a supermarket, spots his neighbor, Callie Mercer, shopping and becomes shy around her as he does not have a social life. Callie asks about the girls and tells him that it's fun shopping alone without her kids as she left them at home with her husband, Brad. Harley returns home from his night duties but gets disturbed by Amber's sexual moment with her partner. At least someone in the family is getting laid. However, Harley manages to send him away by shooting in the air, waking the girls up in the process. He then drags the couch outside and burns it, while the girls watch on. The next morning, Harley and Jody visit Bonnie in prison, and Bonnie is excited to see them, but Harley doesn't feel the same way as he already disowned her. She asks for Misty, but Harley does not allow her to tag along as fights between the girls drive him crazy. Bonnie also finds out that Amber has started dating, but she believes that her daughter is old enough to look out for herself. Later on, while they talk, Harley gets emotional and faints shortly after, forcing the guards to return Bonnie to her cell after she tries to care for her son. Afterward, Harley meets with his therapist, who asks if he has any close relatives to watch over the girl since he doesn't want Amber to do so, but Harley reveals that no one wants to talk to them because of Bonnie. She then asks if he would likely see his mother again and if he liked his father, but Harley becomes uncomfortable and leaves even though his session isn't over. On getting home, Callie invites him into her house, where she offers him a meal and a beer. The two bond over art and Harley returns home to the girls. During dinner, he sees Amber wearing his shirt, with nothing underneath, and asks her to take it off. However, Amber decides to strip right in front of him and her sisters, prompting Harley to stop her. Amber then questions him for not allowing her to get a driving license, and Harley explains that he doesn't make enough money. Nevertheless, Amber doesn't listen to him and demands that he get a job that pays much. While they eat, Harley discovers that Callie dropped by to give him some gifts, an art book, and a recipe, causing Amber to ask if he's turning into a fag. Amber also seems jealous of Callie and questions her dressing style as she continues to tease Harley about her friend getting intimate with him. A few days later, Callie bumps into Harley at the supermarket once again and asks if he got the book. Harley thanks her and they talk about the art book before Callie leaves. Later on, Uncle Mike visits the kids and Amber asks of his son, Mike Jr. Uncle Mike shows them a picture album of Mike, but Harley and Amber make fun of him, prompting Mike to leave. Harley apologizes to him, as they were joking, but Mike says that a lot of people are jealous of Mike's success and laugh to make fun of him. Uncle Mike drives off angrily and Amber thinks that they don't need him. However, Harley states otherwise as they lay down in the field together. Later at night, Harley wakes up from an attack and runs to Callie for help. However, the two soon start getting intimate with each other as Harley finally becomes a man. The next morning, Callie leaves him all alone in the woods and he returns home disappointed. Upon arrival, Misty nearly takes his head off with a rifle and he warns Misty not to use his gun again, but she informs him that she's now an adult as she already started puberty. At night, Callie meets Harley at the store and she apologizes for what happened between them. She says that it shouldn't have happened as she's 10 years older than him and she is married with 2 kids, but Harley tells her that he only thinks about her, which intrigues Callie. He tries to kiss her, but the kids interrupt them and Carrie asks him to stop over later on. On getting back into the store, the manager informs him about the complaint a customer made and warns him never to let it happen again. After work, Harley stops by Callie's house and she questions him about the attack last night, but Harley tells her that he wants to make love to her. They soon start kissing and share an intimate moment once again. The next morning, Callie wonders when she would see him next, due to their busy lives, but Harley decides to quit one of his jobs to be with her because he is finally getting some fun. Not long after, he returns home and Amber tells him that she found $1,000 in Misty's room and he leaves to confront her. Misty informs him that the money is hers as she's the one that found it, even though it's Bonnie's savings as she was trying to escape from her abusive husband. Enraged, Amber slaps her and forcefully collects the money from her. She then asks Harley if she can get a license with the money, but Harley tells her that he needs to pay for the house tax, which is due in 2 weeks, and Amber leaves the house angrily. Later that day, Harley visits Callie and asks why she has not been calling him. Callie explains that he has 2 jobs and she doesn't know when he would be at home to answer the call, but Harley doesn't care. He kisses her and makes love to her inside, despite her son being around. Soon after, Harley discovers that Misty killed a kitten after Callie hands him a letter written by Jody. Excited for their next meeting, Harley proposes that they go to an abandoned mining office by railroad and Callie decided to join him. Later on, Harley and Callie meet at the abandoned mining office. After making love, Callie asks him if she was his first woman and apologizes for ruining his first experience, but Harley assures her that it was the best moment of his life. Callie then suggests that they meet at the mining office every Wednesday and makes out with Harley, but she leaves him again. The next morning, Harley meets the therapist and asks if a kid thinks that it's okay to get hit because he thinks that it's normal. He also asks her what she thinks about sexually abused kids and if she knows about Misty. The therapist tries to find out if Misty was molested at a young age, but Harley does not answer and leaves the office, sad. Harley returns home and finds out that Amber is moving out to stay with her male friend. Although he tries to stop her, Amber does not listen and leaves, stating that it's his fault, but Harley doesn't understand the situation. He returns inside the house with a saddened Jody and she tells him that Misty said something to Amber, which made her angry. Harley asks for the details, but Jody does not know because they talked in the room, but she heard them mentioning his name. While they talk, Harley asks her what she saw the day their father died, and she tells him that Misty was at home that day. She adds that it was Bonnie who took Misty to the store, before returning to bury Misty's clothes. Upon hearing this, Harley immediately figures out that Misty killed their father and Bonnie took the fall. The next morning, Harley visits his mother and tells her about the money Misty found. He also asks her about their father's true killer, and although Bonnie tries to evade the question, she reluctantly reveals that Misty is responsible for their father's death. Harley becomes angry at her for taking the blame as Misty would have received help. However, Bonnie reveals that Misty was aiming to shoot her as she was jealous of her and their father. Harley becomes aggressive, stating that she is crazy and he is forcefully escorted out of the prison. On getting home, he finds out that Harley has returned and wonders why she fell for Dylan, even though he beats her. Later that night, Harley picks up his gun and heads over to Callie's house, but she scolds him for coming over when Brad is around. She informs him that she can't jeopardize her family for him, but Harley tells her that he loves her. He asks if she could stay with him forever, but Callie tells him that they should stick to the mining office plans. The next morning, Amber meets Harley at work to inform him that she is leaving to stay with Dylan permanently, but Harley refuses to let her go because Dylan assaults her occasionally and begs her to stay. After returning home, Harley wakes up suddenly in the middle of the night and gets scared as Amber is on the bed with him, undressed. Amber tells him that she knows about him and Callie, but Harley runs out of the house in fear. The following day, Harley meets the therapist and informs her that he remembers that Amber used to touch him inappropriately when they were kids. He adds that she was afraid of their father and he allowed her to stay in his room because he was afraid of him too. The therapist comforts him, saying that he's not a bad person as they were just turning to each other for comfort because of their abusive father. She tells him to be gentle and compassionate towards Amber as she is going through a lot just like he is. Harley returns home and Misty tells him that she heard his argument with Amber. He finally confronts her about what she did, but Misty says that their father does not like her the way he likes their mother because he never hit her. She tells him that he should have pulled the trigger instead because Bonnie never cared about them. It's Wednesday and Harley rushes to the mining office but discovers that Callie is already dead. He soon spots Amber across the railroad with his gun and she informs him that she didn't know what else to do as no one would take care of her. Harley drives to the police station to confess to the crime. He gets questioned by a cop and asks if he can make a phone call. He calls Uncle Mike to talk to Jody, but he says that she is sleeping and he can't wake her. The cop is confused at why he killed Callie since he loves her and he isn't a bad guy, but Harley says that he has a double personality. Soon after, the therapist visits Harley at the prison and asks that he opens up to her for her to help him as she knows that he didn't kill Callie, but Harley insists that he belongs in jail. He leaves for his cell and the movie ends as Harley reads the letter Jody sent to him.